Hey, what is going on, guys? This video today is going to be going over what I believe are currently the 5 biggest problems with Fortnite Battle Royale. Now, I wanted to be clear that I actually think the Fortnite gameplay experience is at a pretty solid point right now. When you compare the game to how it was about 2 months ago at the beginning of Season 5, it's really hard to see anything less than a major improvement. However, although some solid improvements have been made to the game overall, it's still definitely not a perfect project at this point. There's still some pretty major issues that I believe are really holding the game back from being as enjoyable as possible. Luckily, as we continue to see time and time again, Epic is always going to continue to try to improve Fortnite with consistent patches and weapon updates. So hopefully some of the things that we discuss in this video will be dealt with in due time. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright guys, so the first item on our list today that desperately requires a change in Fortnite is the in-game audio. Fortnite is a revolutionary game in many different ways, and one of the reasons why it has become so successful is because it's a great game in so many design aspects. The graphics are good, the game for the most part runs pretty smoothly, the customization is awesome. Fortnite just in general does so many things better than the various games that it competes with. However, one gameplay aspect that I believe has always been underwhelming with Fortnite is the in-game audio. Now, vertical audio for the most part is not that bad. If someone is somewhat near you and on the same level as you, it probably won't be that difficult to pinpoint where they're coming from, as long as you have, at least a decent headset. However, the biggest problem hands down with audio in Fortnite is vertical audio, which basically refers to the sounds that you hear whenever someone is on a different level than you, either, above or below you. Now, if you guys don't already know, I have Asteroid 40s, which are one of the best, if not the best headset available for gaming, period. However, even with one of the best headsets possible, I still struggle a ton with identifying which level enemies are on in multi-level buildings. You guys know how much I love going tilted. I probably do it about 99% of the time I'm playing Fortnite, and in theory, going tilted with Astro should be an absolute match made in heaven. But trust me, that just isn't really the case. Buildings like Big Bertha, Corner Brick, and Big Brick can be total nightmares when trying to figure out what floor the enemies are on. If it's bad for me with A40s, I can only imagine it's even worse for those of you guys out there who use less powerful headsets like Turtle Beaches or just the default Xbox/PS4 headset. Along with this, there are a bunch of other little audio bugs that Fortnite really needs to iron out. 2 examples off the top of my head are not being able to identify where grenades are landing when they're thrown near you, and when teammates' footsteps just randomly sound like enemies' footsteps every once in a while. I'm not really sure what causes that, but it's another super annoying audio bug. I'm not sure how big of a task it would be for Epic to make significant improvements to the in-game audio, but it's definitely something that they should really take a serious look into. The next problem that we're going to be covering are the recent connectivity issues inside of Fortnite. I don't know if this is an issue for everyone or just a sizable chunk of people, but it seems like randomly, for whatever reason, over the last few weeks, players have been having a ton of connection issues with Fortnite. I'm seeing tons of posts online where players who claim to have really good internet apparently are experiencing tons of ping and lag issues inside of the game. Many people believe that these issues all started with an update a few weeks back, which added some extra regional servers into the game, and Epic has actually addressed these issues a few days ago by responding to a Reddit post from a user claiming that he can no longer even play on NA East servers because of just consistent lag when playing on them. The Epic employee who responded to the post goes by the username JShreds, and he says, "We have and have always had 2 different data centers in NA NA East, Ohio and Virginia. The 20 ping is you hitting Ohio, the 40 ping is you hitting Virginia. Currently, you're relatively randomly distributed between the two. It's actually based on the share of total servers of each deployment type live at any given time. Now, I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure exactly what that last point means. However, it's not really that important. And also, this response didn't really cover the main issue in the post, which was less so about the inconsistent ping and more so about the skipping and other latency issues inside of the game. However, if this truly is the case where the only issue is the two different data centers, why is it that these connection issues are now seemingly worse than ever for so many players just over this last 2-week or so period? I personally can attest to this firsthand. I'm not going to say it's a super frequent issue with me, but like a lot of people are claiming, me and my friends who always play on NAE servers have recently, like I said, over this 2-week period, had some of these random weird games where it seems like we're all on much higher pings than we're normally on. I usually am anywhere between like 10 and 25, and every once in a while I have these games where I'm randomly on 50 and 60 and it feels like my bullets aren't connecting, I'm lagging every once in a while, just not that great of an experience. And honestly, I've only had these problems for the last 2 weeks or so. It's a relatively new connection issue for me and a lot of other players. Now, luckily, Epic has mentioned in the past that they're trying to find a fix for some of these connection issues. They've said things about adding more specific regional servers into the game and expanding on Jay Shred's response to that Reddit post. They have also mentioned adding new sub-region matchmaking, which will automatically route you to the closest data center in your region, so hopefully no more alternating between the multiple different data centers in a given region. So hopefully a lot of these super annoying connectivity issues will be fixed sooner rather than later, and Fortnite will become a little bit more playable because of that. The next feature of Fortnite that is drastically in need of a major update is the drum gun. At this point in time, I think the drum gun is pretty much unanimously considered to be the most overpowered weapon in the game. I actually found a really funny picture while scrolling through Twitter today that highlights exactly what is wrong with the drum gun, and I'll throw it on the screen right now. And as you can see, a bunch of different weapons are listed, and next to them it shows what each weapon is particularly good at. And then at the bottom of the list you have the drum gun, which simply says all of the above. Like I said, this is more intended to be comedic than anything else, but the point the picture is trying to make is actually 100% true. The drum gun really does have the burst damage ability of a pump shotgun. It also has insane DPS, it also is a top tier building destroyer, it also has a huge magazine size, and finally, it is really easy to find and use. No weapon in Fortnite should have anywhere near as many positive characteristics as the current drum gun does, while also not having any clear negatives alongside those positives. Just to put into perspective how insane this weapon really is, let's compare its damage stats to the gold compact SMG. The compact SMG has a maximum damage per second of 210, while the blue drum gun has a maximum damage per second of 243. So not only does the drum gun do considerably more damage, but it also has a larger magazine size, 50 versus 40, and is 2 levels of rarity lower, blue versus gold. I think we all can remember just how awful the spray and pray meta was in Fortnite at the beginning of Season 5, and it was basically because of weapons like the drum gun, with huge clip sizes, fast fire rates, and insane building and player damage. Yet, when Epic made a few changes that actually did a really great job of pretty much killing the spray and pray meta, the drum gun was left totally untouched. And it's funny because when they made those changes, which were basically huge nerfs to the SMG, silenced SMG, and compact SMG, I pointed out how since the drum gun was untouched, it would pretty much instantly become a really, really strong close-range weapon. Well, I think even that was a bit of an understatement. Honestly, I could probably make an entire video on why the drum gun is very bad for Fortnite in this current meta, but for the sake of time, I'll wrap it up there and move on. The final thing that we're going to be covering in this video today is one additional item and one additional weapon that I believe are causing problems in Fortnite. First off, we have the remote explosive, or what is more commonly known as the C4. I honestly feel like in general, Fortnite would just be a lot better without the C4 in the game. I would say that C4 is one of the most consistently complained about items in the entire game, and it has been for literally the last 3 or 4 months. And you can tell Epic knows it too because they've made multiple changes to it, including changes to its damage and rarity. In the hands of an experienced player, C4 is basically a guaranteed kill. And even in the hands of an inexperienced player, C4 is pretty much impossible to counter. That's a problem, and it's why I believe Fortnite would just in general be better off without it. Along the same lines, I believe that the minigun has a glaring flaw. Is the minigun more annoying than it is overpowered? Yeah, probably. But I think one simple change makes a lot of sense when it comes to balancing this weapon. There has gotta be some kind of a cooldown time with the minigun. You should not be able to shoot it for a minute straight with no repercussions. I believe that after about 150 to 200 shots in a row, the minigun should overheat and require about 2 to 3 seconds of cooldown time before you can shoot it again. I think that would cause a lot less people to hate on what is actually a pretty cool and unique weapon at the end of the day. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you watched the entire thing, be sure to leave me a comment down in the comment section below. What do you believe is currently the biggest problem with Fortnite right now? Be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, do whatever the heck you want, and I will catch you guys next time.